Hello everyone, CyberSage87 here, and I'm going to try to do a tutorial that might help y'all out with cosplay. Um, Many of y'all have heard of the thermoplastics Warbla and Wonderflex. Both are good for doing armor and props like that, but it can be a bit expensive and also difficult to handle, especially when you have to like sandwich the craft foam in between it. I've never really worked with it myself, but I know that it can be a little difficult to work with. Now, some things that I've done for my quote-unquote version of cosplay, that is my robots, is that I've used laser cut acrylic and a low temperature thermoplastic called polycarbonyl acetone. One of the name brands I use is ShapeLock, and I'll show you how to do that in the second of these two tutorials. But first, I'd like to show you how to do um, just flat two-dimensional props with laser cut acrylic, because I think that would be very useful, especially for smaller objects. So let's get started. First thing we're going to need is an outfit that will supply our acrylic and cut it. And one very good place to do that is Pinocchio.com. They have the do-it-yourselfer and hobbyist in mind. So I'm just going to pull up Firefox here and Pinocchio.com. There we go. And you're going to need to log in. So let me do that right quick. Okay, we're going to click on the Get Started here, because the second thing you're going to need is a software for doing vector files. Now, Adobe Illustrator, CorelDRAW, AutoCAD, these are all fantastic programs. I have Adobe Illustrator. I've never really used it because I find Inkscape to be much more simple and it's also free. Not only is it free, it's open source. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I have it installed, but y'all can install it from SourceForge. I will probably throw up an annotation where you can get it. But you're going to download the P1, P2, and P3 templates. And what that is the stock size of acrylic that this factory has available. So we're going to go ahead and download that, and I already have, so I'll just click cancel. And that's all we're going to do from Pinocchio for now. Remember that you do need to create an account to get all this stuff. So we're going to open up Inkscape. There we go. And we're going to go to File, Open, and it landed in my Downloads directory, the templates that is. So we're going to click on P1 Inkscape SVG. Very good. And one thing you'll see right off the bat is we have this layout area, and this represents the stock piece of acrylic that they have at the factory. It's going to be 7.1 inches by 7.1 inches, which means like 10.5 inches across. And over here we'll have some details on how to tell the machine what to do. And I'll go into that as we move along. But first, I haven't even talked about like what prop we're going to make. So let's think of something useful that we can make two-dimensionally. That'd be kind of interesting. So let me open up my browser. We're going to make a fancy mask of Tuxedo mask. So we're just going to copy and paste. And you'll notice that it will function very similar to Photoshop with editing images. This is a raster image, and we're going to make a vector image of this raster image, or part of this raster image rather. So we're going to click our magnifying glass, and we're going to get up to the pixel level. Now we're going to use what's called the Bezier tool. That's this one right here underneath the pencil. And we're going to just start clicking on geometrically significant portions of the mask, and he has a point right there, so I need to make sure that I have a node. That's what these individual places that I'm clicking on are called, nodes. And you're going to want to make sure that your last node connects with your first node in order to make your shape. And I'm just going to do that with the eye piece here. Not terribly concerned with where these nodes are. So now we have two pretty nasty looking polygons around the mask here, but we're going to fix that. So we're going to go over to select transform objects, and we're going to swap that over to our edit paths object. We're going to click on the first path that we made, the first shape that we made, and we're going to, while holding shift, select our nodes that we want to smooth out. I don't want to smooth this one out because that's where the little pointy part of Tuxedo mask is. And also I want these two to be pointy and straight as well. So I clicked on make selected nodes auto smooth, and that smoothened all the nodes that I shift selected. So going back to the selected tool, you're going to click on these new circles because it used to be diamonds. And what you'll notice is once you click on the circle, two other little circles will pop up, and these are your Bezier handles. For those of y'all who are familiar with After Effects and making video mask, that is exactly what this is. So we're just going to kind of start form fitting our nodes just by clicking on them one by one to the outline of our picture. And that's looking pretty good. So we're going to go over here. Since this is pretty much a circular object, I'm just going to Control A and do the make selected nodes auto smooth, and then start working from there. That's looking pretty much like Darien or Mamadou now. Now our subject is not facing forward, so one side is smaller than the other. That's why I chose to take one side, and we're going to just do a simple little trick to get a symmetrical mask. So I just regular selection tool and clicked my picture and deleted it because we don't need it anymore. Control A, object, group, then Control D for duplicate, and then I'm hitting H, or this little thing up here, to flip that duplication horizontally. I'm using my right arrow key to move this object over, and we're going to have it overlap slightly. And we're going to click out. Now I am going to Control A again and ungroup everything so that now I have 4 objects. And we're going to click on the 2 outer fins, path, union, and that gets rid of the inner portion. Control A, and then we're going to group it, and now the entire mask is being treated as a solid object. So we're going to go to the magnifying glass and go to 1:1 scale. Now here's the part where we make the mask your size. This is going to be custom fit to you or your client. And good thing about Inkscape is if you do your print function, or just Control P, it's going to print out 1:1 scale, which means that it might clip on the paper, but you'll get a feel for how large it is before you actually commit to laser cutting it. So I'm just going to make this one as big as possible by pulling it diagonally and just letting it sit there. Now, according to the instructions on the side, in order to tell the machine that these lines are to be cut as opposed to engraved, you can do both engraving and cutting in the same project. We're going to need to turn the lines blue, pure blue. So I just went to Object, Fill and Stroke. We don't need a fill. We do need stroke, and we're going to do that to 255. That's F in hexadecimal. So we got a pure blue. The alpha channel does need to be all the way up. And then for our width, 0.01 millimeters, which makes it feather light small, which is the curve of the laser. Very, very small. So you probably can't even see it in the video, and I can't really see it either. To fix that, we can go to View, Display Mode, Outline, and that will allow you to see what's going on. And then we can flip back to normal. I made a scouter once that used both engraving and cutting. I won't go into details of that, but I did have to make sure that both things were the correct color. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we got our mask down. So we're going to go to File, Save As, and then bring it up to a place where we know it is going to be. I'm going to call it Common 3, as in Tuxedo Common. And we're going to exit out of that, because that's all we need. So going back to Pinocchio, in your account, we're going to go to Make New Design, Upload Design, add it, and shouldn't take long to upload. There we go. And you get a nice preview of what you're getting. Add the materials. Here's where you can get a little creative. So we can choose the material type: cardboard, plastic, wood, rubber, fabric. Probably wouldn't recommend fabric, that laser would burn it all up. So we're going to use plastic, and the type of plastic we're going to use is acrylic, which is more or less plexiglass. I would not recommend Delrin unless you're using something very, very thick. It's a mess to clean up, gets laser soot everywhere. So for tuxedo mask, I'm going to go with an acrylic opal. They have a lot of different color acrylics here, so you know, you want to make something gold, shiny, awesome, go for it. All right, remember our size was a P1, so we'll do that. Otherwise, we're paying for blank space we don't need to use. And you can see the material cost is pretty reasonable. I mean, you probably end up paying twice as much, and not to mention the time you would take in actually forming it and cutting it out of Warbler and Wonderflex. And then you would go to make it, and then you would have your shopping cart. So I'm going to log out, and because I've already got this done, I'm going to show you what the result looks like in real life. And here's our real life result. And very nice shiny acrylic. It comes in a protected paper that you have to peel off. Do highly recommend soaking it in soap and water to get rid of the laser soot. And there you go. And this is flat, so we're going to bend it. If you have worked with Warbler or Wonderflex, you're very familiar with the heat gun. Now with acrylic, you do need to be very gentle, just the smallest amount of pressure while you're heating it up, and you'll start to feel it kind of getting soft. So you're going to want to put an even amount of heat around your bend area. Right now I have the heat gun on the lowest setting. I do apologize for not actually having real-time audio, but also one reason I'm wearing gloves, this is nitrile gloves, helps keep the heat, because I mean, you know, you'd be burning your thumbs. And one slight mistake I made is I put a little too much heat on one side, but because I shaped the mask the way I did, it's able to flex. And you can see, if this acrylic was not heated up, it would have snapped by now. So I'm kind of giving it kind of a angle, very similar to tuxedo mask, and just making sure that there's no burned edges. And there you go, it fits fairly well. I could probably stand to make it a little more acute angle, but that's how you bend acrylic. Just put it up against some heat, and you got yourself your product.